This episode is brought to you by Cologuard. Do you know what's really scary? Not screening for colon cancer when you turn 45. The Cologuard test is non-invasive, requires no special prep or time off work, and ships right to your door. In just 3 simple steps, Cologuard takes the scare out of colon cancer screening. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about the Cologuard test. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Learn more or request a prescription today at Cologuard.com/screen.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Let's talk about something which I love: the poser, the phony, the liar. They're everywhere. If I were to go down the list, I don't want to, it would take us too long. I would say, which American, let me turn my phone off here. My phone all of a sudden, does your phone just start talking to you all of a sudden? It's the weirdest thing. It's just on. It's like, wait a minute, hold it, AI. What politician do you think is the biggest phony? Now, I'm not asking you. Please, I don't have time for that. We could spend 2 weeks doing this. But let me give my appraisal of President Trump. He's not a phony. He's anything but a phony. He may be wrong. You may not like what he's doing, which is fine. It's up to you. But he's not a phony. He's not Fugazi. He's not some imaginary person. He is not making how do I say this? This is not a joke. This is real. He's not pretending to be something he is not. There's something about people that I find who are pretending to be something they are not. And a lot of times, and this may really be a bit of a problem, and sometimes people have shown incredible distress and disgust with me, but I hate the idea who are closeted, especially in Hollywood, who are gay, and we all know they're gay, and they won't tell you. And they're pretending they've got some beard. They marry some woman who's just supposed to stand there. And everybody knows, come on, for the love of God, stop doing this. Stop it. Especially in Hollywood when they're telling you, to make sure you tell people, be your authentic self. Why don't you do it? No. But that's another story. The imposter, though. Why is it? At the center of my fascination, and I think our fascination of the imposter, the trickster, is that the imposter reveals not just deception, but the vulnerability of belief itself. Look, long before modern media, the imposter existed in myth and legend. Trickster figures appear across all cultures. One of the earliest, most famous literary examples is Tartuffe, Molière, a religious fraud who presents himself as a pious one while exploiting a wealthy family. The story resonated because it captured a timeless fear. How about, here's for you, Yuri Rasputin, who embedded himself in the Russian royal court, presenting himself as a holy man, and then wielded incredible influence. Remember, all of the stories attended to Grigory Rasputin. I don't have time to go into that one, but you can imagine. Clifford Irving. Remember Clifford Irving? This is the guy who faked the autobiography of Howard Hughes. And he convinced publishers and the public that he had exclusive access to the reclusive billionaire. And the deception it worked, not because Irving was brilliant, but because people wanted to believe the story. That's it. And then, in a similar vein, Uri Geller. Remember that? This is the fellow who captivated audiences. He claimed, telekinesis powers, bending spoons and reading minds, and whether he was an entertainer or fraud. By the way, the amazing Randy got him. His appeal rested on the same kind of foundation, basically the human desire to believe in something beyond the ordinary. We wanted it to be true. And the one that I loved the best was Jim Baker and Tammy Faye Baker. Tammy Faye Baker building her looks on her crying faith and charisma and send us some money. And she was always crying. And she cried. And she cried. And they never, it's funny. She never did. You know that funny people look at that Erica Kirk? They never blow their nose. They never do. They need all these Kleenexes for their eyes. But you know when somebody cries, you gotta blow your nose. The lacrimation is connected to nose. They don't have that. Interestingly enough, fascinating. Now, what makes the phenomenon even more interesting in many respects is that these imposters, these posers, are not always treated as villains. For example, remember the Great Gatsby, Jay Gatsby? This is a guy who invents himself entirely. He's a fraud. Gatsby is a fraud in the literal sense, but he's romanticized because he represents reinvention. Look at, again, Catch Me If You Can, Frank Abagnale. The movie, who was it, with Philip Seymour Hoffman and the other, not Judge. There's so many of these people who claim to be something they are not. And why do people love imposters? Why? And I mentioned Carl Jung said, it's projection. We secretly wish we could do what they do. We wish we could escape constraints. We wish we could rewrite ourselves. And then there's this transgression part of us. See, imposters, phonies, they break rules without any consequences. Immediate, that is. And it creates tension, excitement, and we want to see if they're caught. And then there's the narrative satisfaction. The rise and fall of the imposter is a perfect story. And here's what I want you to tell me. Listen to me very carefully. This is where you come in because you've seen this. You might say, what is this highfalutin imposter stuff? Have you ever met someone who is a fraud, specifically in a romantic situation? Have you ever met a woman or a man and you hear these, oh my God, these people who are not catfished, but they're found online and they give them hundreds of thousands of dollars and they say they're in love and it's the most incredible, and you idiot. But we love the story. And he's a very smart woman. Imagine this, you're out with a woman for the first time and Tony said, I met a nice girl, very nice. Went out, she goes, Tony, can I borrow $10,000? Excuse me, what? Right off the bat, you would say, wait, hold it. But imagine being so, demented that you actually thought, what? You didn't notice this at first? No, I didn't. How do people believe in faith healers? How do people believe in quacks? How do people believe in things? And yet we always love to point to the conspiracy theorists. Oh, they're crazy. Well, there's little invested. You don't have to really do anything. If you believe in something that happened, if you believe in some event or some portrayal of reality, you're not really investing anything much. But for you to give money up, have you ever had someone in your family who brings home a woman, a man, and you realize you're making the biggest mistake of your life? Did you ever marry somebody that was a complete and total fraud and you were taken to the cleaners and you cannot believe how good they are? You can't believe police officers, law enforcement, lawyers, social workers, people, neighbors, friends. You've seen this. They are incredible. They might be, believe it or not, the greatest form of psychopath ever. Because not only do they have no sense of conscience, but they also have no interest whatsoever for your feelings. Nothing. You are an objective, and they will use everything. Psychopaths may have a problem because you have to be a pretty good actor. You've got to know how to do it. Confidence. And then there's other parts. Well, what about regular lying? When you sell something, are you lying? Well, I'm not selling something. I'm just exaggerating. How do you draw the line? I have met very few people that I thought in my life were confident people. The only one I saw one time, years ago, was kind of like a cousin or hooked up with some woman. And everyone knew. Everyone told this guy, you're making a mistake. And he was so blinded, not by love, but how she pitted him against his family. One of the most diabolical things you have ever seen in your life.